I'm Joan Wright, and I'm the Associate Principal Double Bass with the West Australian Symphony Orchestra.
And I'm Michael Way. I'm the Principal Piccolo in the flute section of the West Australian Symphony Orchestra.
I grew up in a country town in South Australia and played a bit of sort of pop piano, which I enjoyed. Then we came to WA and I resented it bitterly, but fortunately the music teacher at school took me under her wing and gave me a real love for classical music, which I'd never had before. And she encouraged me to start playing the violin, which I did. Loved it enough to go into uni to do a Bachelor of Music Education. And while I was doing that, I was supposed to learn a different instrument every year. And one day they gave me double bass, and I just loved it and knew that that's what I wanted to do.
Similar experience. I grew up in New South Wales, in Sydney, and my high school music teacher, Lynn Leake, who now actually teaches music in Kalgoorlie, she introduced me to the piano, and then she also introduced me to a wonderful woman called Linda Vogt, who was a flute player in the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. And as I said, you know, to a lot of people, she was pretty cool, and it's amazing how people can influence you. And I thought, okay, she's pretty cool. Her husband, Colin, was even cooler again. He was the piccolo player in the orchestra in Sydney. And so I thought, I'd like to be like them. They're pretty great, so I'll pursue that one. And so I auditioned and got a position in her class and went from there.
I often think back and think, if it had been a maths teacher, would I be doing something different? But it was the music teacher. And I guess I had some kind of talent, hidden talent, and she brought that out. And yeah, I ended up going to university with her because she came back to do some more study. And I credit her with the reason I am where I am now. For me, being in an orchestra and being part of that sound, when the orchestra's going full bore, there's nothing like the adrenaline rush. And sometimes even at a concert, it's just, you just pause long enough to think, this is amazing, this sound around me. And you just can't recreate it unless you turn the music up very loudly at home. You really can't create it with a CD or whatever. It's such a buzz to be part of that immense sound.
Yeah, and it's a long part of my history, listening to classical music as well. So it's something that happened in my family. My mother liked to listen to classical music, so I grew up with Nana Mouskouri and Beethoven. So, and you know, the first time you actually play in an orchestra, it's a little bit daunting, a little bit terrifying. But then you, as Joan says, you get swamped by this wonderful sound. And I sit in front of the bass clarinet player, and it's like sitting in front of a gigantic speaker. When he's playing and letting rip, my chair and the floor, everything vibrates, and you know, sometimes the bassists come and sit next to me. Normally they're on the other side of the orchestra, but when they sit next to me, that's heaven. I just love the sort of the rumble that you get from the bass section. It's fantastic. And
he enjoys that. We need earplugs sitting next to him.
I'm the thunder and lightning in the orchestra. These guys are the stability.
I love contemporary music, cutting edge new music. And I work in a small ensemble, and we do different projects all around the world actually. So I love that because it makes me explore my instrument to the maximum. But again, a good work week is a week with a great conductor and good music. And a great conductor just inspires us to play beyond ourselves, to enjoy music we might not choose to play, but it's part of our workload. And a great conductor can just brings out the best in you, I think.
I think what Joan is saying is one of the joys of being in this orchestra is because we actually play, as a symphony orchestra, we play main stage concerts at the concert hall with a variety of conductors, but then we also get to do the opera and the ballet, and there's such wonderful repertoire in the opera canon. And also, because of that, we have a chief conductor, Paul Daniel, but we also have a whole string of guest conductors. And it's always like licorice all sorts. You never know what you're going to get. And you know, some of them return conductors, but a lot of them are brand new, like this fellow Guerrero that we worked with a couple of weeks ago. And he was Latin magic. He was totally on fire the whole time. And he comes from Costa Rica, and he's got that sort of pop temperament. And we were doing works that were pretty ordinary in our scheme of things. But suddenly they came to life, and he breathed new life into old repertoire, which is exciting for us. You know.